Welcome to Inside ELAS, the podcast where we explore how AI is transforming the way we do literature reviews. I'm your host Josien Boetje, and with me is ASReview founder and AI expert Rens van der Schoot. Each episode we talk to researchers, students and practitioners about their experiences using AI-assisted screening with ASReview. The highs, the hurdles and everything in between. Whether you're deep into systematic reviews or just curious about how an algorithm ended up helping with your reading list, you're in the right place. Today we're very happy to have Rutger here, who actually started using ASReview maybe for your reading list, from your bachelor's to now a full-time job at ASReview. So we're very happy to have you, Rutger.
Thank you very much.
So how did it all start for you as a bachelor student? How did you get in touch with ASReview?
Yeah, it was very accidentally, actually, because I started doing a thesis elsewhere, and I felt like I actually wanted to do methods and statistics, which I wasn't doing at that point.
Because what were you studying?
I was studying psychology, but I did my thesis at only clinical psychology, but I was missing the methods and statistics part. So I stopped with that. And then at the end, there was only a few options, which ASReview was one of. I've never heard of that before in my bachelor's.
So you could pick a topic for your thesis. And ASReview was one of the...
Yeah, it was one of the... Yeah. And then I went there and I was like, what is this? It's very nice, but I've never seen something like that. And then I just started and then the rest is history, I would say. Yeah, it was very... Yeah, I really liked it. Yeah.
So, and what did you do exactly for your thesis? What was the project all about?
Yeah, so at first, so we can talk about this for a long time now, because at first we wanted to just do a simulation study on already conducted systematic review. So then we were like, okay, we're just going to do a simulation study and see how ASReview would have performed in this case, because they just did a manual screening and we just wanted to see how ASReview would have done it in a...
So you're talking about another already published systematic review, and you want to simulate that was done manually. Yeah. What if they would have known about ASReview?
Exactly that.
Okay,
yeah.
That was your original goal.
Yeah, and we did that with a very nice study on borderline personality disorder by Matthijs Ord. Yeah. And then but then we saw that actually it's much harder than you think. Reconstructing and simulating. First, you have to reconstruct their data set of included and excluded records.
Yeah, because that was not published online or...
Well, so the PRISMA guidelines, they say you only have to actually state which records are included. Yeah, and you have to mention the number of excluded records, of course. Yeah. But you don't have to store your full data set of included and excluded records. So we had to reconstruct that. And we were like, okay, let's just do that from the search terms. Yeah. Because, maybe that's the easy way, because that was published stored very well. By the way, the rest was also stored according to the PRISMA guidelines. But then we found, well, if we just use their search terms, we get different results.
Oh, that's already so...
Different number of outcomes. So what's going on here? And we wanted to simulate. We want to do a simulation study, and we're still in the beginning. Well, actually, maybe this is a research area in itself, like how to reconstruct this data set.
Yeah.
And finally, we managed to find a way to reconstruct the data set.
But is this because Matthijs and his colleagues were not transparent enough in the search query, or?
No. They were completely transparent, and they mentioned in which database they searched their search terms. They mentioned how many results they got, and at which date they did it. But even if we exactly did what they did, we would get different outcomes. Because, and I think Katelijn Leenaars is a very good example who knows, because she was co-author later on the paper, fast forward. But then she knows a lot about why that happens. Because, mesh terms get updated and...
so the systems you search with, they are updated.
Yeah, they're
that
updated.
Makes the search impossible to...
And even
replicate.
If you put a date filter, like okay, we want to pretend like we are searching it like 2 years ago. Even then, you get different results. So yeah, or also like different access options from different universities. If you as a university have different access to certain databases than other universities.
Yeah.
So that makes the replication really hard. But the positive message is we tried and we, I guess, succeeded, and also developed a procedure to help with that.
Procedure to help with replicating. But what was the original goal of you set out this thesis project?
Yeah, so initially the goal was in that sense to replicate this study as if you would have used ASReview.
Yeah.
But then suddenly we realized that getting the data set, even though the authors adhered to the PRISMA guidelines and did everything according to all the rules that apply, there was one ingredient missing, a list of the excluded papers.
Yeah.
And then we do this as scientists under the assumption that if you replicate the search, you get the same list of papers, right? The included papers, it's easy, right? They're reported in the paper. So the problem was the excluded papers. But if you replicate the search 5 years later or something, you don't get the same exact numbers back. But you don't know which papers are new or which papers are missed. And this was actually when Rutger stood out as a student, because he came with this idea for a noisy label filtering procedure.
So a replication crisis in systematic review land.
Yeah. Wow, that's very well said. Yeah.
But then you have develop this procedure to help with that, right?
Yes. Yeah. So the point is, we want to know, like, maybe there are new relevant studies, even added to the database, but even maybe published before their published date. Do you get what I mean? Like, for example, the original study was published in 2018, but maybe there have been added like studies from 2050 that they would
added to the database, indexed in 2019, but published.
Exactly.
For example, because a journal is added to the database.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or the other way around, like that there's a paper retracted or something, or it can happen a lot of things. And then the noisy label filter is like to see if there are new relevant records in the data set.
Why is it called noisy?
Yeah, it's noisy because we know the relevant records because the original authors published these relevant records list. They had to, and they did it. But like we did the search terms, and we got a complete list of records, and we only saw, these are the relevant ones that they mentioned, but the rest, we don't know. It's noisy. It's
it's noisy. Most will be probably irrelevant, but there could be some newly identified relevant, even within their time range of the original study.
Yeah. So if you would label all those papers as a 0, then the simulation study gets confused because there's this false 0 which should have been.
So it gives noise to your simulation.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it and it adds just like new relevant studies. Both ways.
Yeah. So what does it solve? The noisy label procedure?
Yeah. So it makes the replication more trustworthy, I would say. Mm-hmm. And it makes also the simulation study, it gives more valuable information to the AI simulation study. Mm-hmm. And it just finds maybe new relevant records that you haven't found back then with your search terms.
So does it mean you apply active learning again actively?
Yeah.
Yeah. So before, it's like not a true replication anymore, maybe.
No, so Rutger went actually back to Matthijs Ord, the initial author, and then you ask him to screen for I think 1 hour or something in ASReview to double check the excluded papers to see if there was one paper maybe
and
missed.
that would be the one that could have caused some noise and once identified. So did he find new articles, Matthijs?
In the end, he did not find new articles, but it is also an outcome.
Yes.
Because then we knew, we can continue with the simulation study, and there are no like new relevant studies. So yeah.
And how much time would he have saved?
If you, what do you mean? If
like you did the simulation in the end after all this work, try to replicate the data set, filter out the noise.
Yeah. So it's around 80%. So Yeah, so he could have saved like 80% of his
Yeah.
initial screening time,
And what was his
which was notably with the old ASReview versions.
so now it could be even more.
Yeah.
And what was Matthijs' reaction to that?
Yeah, I think he was really positive about ASReview. He was like, oh, maybe because he worked at the Trimbos Institute at that time.
Yeah.
So maybe he was like, yeah, we would consider also using this more. And also these simulation studies can really help to convince people like, yeah, you could actually save so much time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we had a lot of discussions about fairness and transparency because first, Matthijs felt a little bit threatened, like because we could not replicate his exact number, so he was really worried that he did something wrong, right? So it took a lot of effort actually to convince him. No, what you did was according to the guidelines.
Yeah.
This is not your mistake. This is the mistake of all those commercial databases or all those journals, or sometimes for a good reason, correcting a mislabeled record or correcting a keyword or a mesh term or whatever. So it's not your fault. So it took quite some convincing from your side to help him trust his own work, actually.
Yeah,
what,
true.
What do you think about the future of reproducibility of reviews? What should happen to make this easier?
Yeah, to be honest, my suggestion would be that the PRISMA guidelines just state that you have to store all your records that you labeled and also not labeled if you use AI.
Unseen records, labeled and unlabeled records.
Records, and then with the label decision,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're really then also the reason why. But that, I mean,
Well, for full text exclusions, you already have to report that in your Prisma flowchart, but you could easily add that also to your data.
Yeah, I think that would be a very good solution for replicability already. And also the noisy label filter procedure can also just be used as a second screener. Mm-hmm. So if you, for example, have limited time but you still want to do manual screening, then the first screener just screens everything.
Yes.
And then the second screener only screens the irrelevant labeled articles.
Yes.
Ranked by relevance based on the prior knowledge that you put in.
Yeah. So you're actually proposing, let's say, that a PhD student reads all the 10,000 records, and then the supervisor can just read for 1 hour the excluded papers. Is that
exactly?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a quality check.
Yes, I'm not proposing this as the best solution because in my.
No, but for those people who think, okay, in my field, my stage in my career, I want to see all records manually. Sure, do it, and then you can still add it as an add-on.
Yeah.
To increase the trustworthiness without your supervisor having to go through all these 10,000s.
Exactly.
Also.
Yeah.
But Rutger, be honest.
Yeah.
Do you really think it's still ethical that someone, whether this person is a PhD student or not, reads all the records now that we have all these AI systems?
I don't think that it's ethical, but if you're in that system, and for example, if you're a PhD student and you really don't get it done, then you can propose a small option or a small solution, which is already. Okay, we label everything, but then as a second screener, we only check if we missed some relevant articles using the AI.
Because all the inclusions are processed anyway during the data extraction phase. So the inclusions are not the problem, the exclusions might be the problem.
Yeah, if you missed them, yeah.
Yeah, so to summarize, I think the noisy label procedure means that another person will screen the excluded records using active learning, using the included records as prior knowledge for 1 hour.
Yeah, that's a perfect summary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Speaking about summaries, I think it's time to go on a little adventure. You see a lot of ELAS adventure stickers here on the table, like lions, superheroes, lollies. Yeah, is there anything on your wish list for the next adventure for ELAS?
Yeah, I think ELAS can still develop a bit. For example, musically. So maybe there needs to be a ELAS musician, which would be really cool for people to have.
Nice. Should you also compose in binary, like the old Game Boy music, for example?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Great. Yeah. Because they say if you have restrictions, you can be more creative, right?
Yeah.
And just a fun fact for our listeners, Rutger actually made the intro tune for this podcast, which was also quite restricted because it had to be a podcast style, like 20, 30 seconds. So that's very nice.
I'm very impressed, Rutger, because you started out as a bachelor thesis student. You will start your full-time job here at ASReview, and you're the ELAS musician. I'm so proud.
Thank you.
And I think that brings us to the end of this episode. We heard a very nice story going from bachelor student to full-time engaged in the ASReview project, doing like from music, stickers, reproducing systematic reviews, and going even to the original author, collaborating with them, convincing them to collaborate, and that the person is not wrong. But how we think about doing systematic reviews, what we should publish to be really transparent, we should just update our guidelines and embrace the fact that it will only get worse. Like now maybe you have 1,000 articles. In a year it will double and then again and again. So 50,000, 100,000. We should be really transparent because it will be impossible to replicate your searches in the future. It will only get worse. Well, that was the end of this episode. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your fellow researchers, supervisors, or that one colleague who still screens everything manually. We see you, but you can also think of the noisy label procedure if you want your supervisor not to also screen everything manually, of course. For more stories, updates, and insight, follow us and stay tuned. ELAS can't wait to expand its community, making its little digital heart positively pulsing in binary with joy.